Good morning, all of you. Today we are going to read class 7th S.St. Geography, chapter number 11, Life in the Desert, part 1. So, student, in this chapter we will read about the desert areas. So, on the earth, what places are belongs to the desert that you have already seen in the previous chapter, in the chapter number 8. Now we have to see the desert which belongs to the cold desert and the hot desert. So in this video we will go one by one, starting with the hot desert, that is the most common and most famous desert, that is the Sahara Desert. So basically the Sahara Desert lies in the African continent. So let us see, though the Africa is the only continent which comes under in the uh, whole tropical zone or the torrid zone between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Almost it covers both of the tropics. Now let us see what kind of uh, desert the Sahara Desert is, and the Sahara Desert is surrounded by which of the other continents and the countries. Now it is the world largest tropical desert. So Sahara Desert is considered as the world largest tropical desert, and from the north side it is surrounded by Mediterranean Sea and the Atlas Mountain, and the Nile River and the Red Sea from the east side. So there you can see in the map, the from above side in the north side Mediterranean Sea you can observe, and the though the Atlas Mountain is not there in the picture, but the Mediterranean Sea is there, and the Nile Valley, the Nile River you can see, and also Red Sea in the east. The Niger Valley, it is in south. So the river Niger, which create the valley, that is in the south, and in the west side the Atlantic Ocean lies. So the Sahara is covered by the countries such as Algeria, Mali, Libya, Chad, Egypt, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Sudan, Tunisia. So these are some of the country which covers the Sahara Desert. Now you can see some of the country like Niger, Chad, Sudan, Mali, Mauritania, Egypt, Libya. So these are some of the country which covers the Sahara Desert. So now you can see the darkest yellow part that shows the Sahara Desert area. Now you know very well, in every desert, the dry desert or the hot desert, there is an oasis. So what is oasis? So oasis is a place in desert that has a supply of fresh water where the plant can grow, and oases provide the rest, shade, food, and water for nomads as they travel their territory, and to their people and other to the other people following the trade routes. So basically, oasis is what? It's a water. It's a supply or fresh water supply, and it is present in between the desert. So basically, oasis is a kind of it's a kind of pond which is lie in between the desert, and it is connected with the groundwater. That is why in the desert the water availability is, it is just because it is touched or the connected with the groundwater, only that is the reason. So sometimes oasis provide the rest to the peoples. The oasis is surrounded by the many trees. The people, those who are living near the oasis, they grow some of the crops. They get the water from there for their household work and the irrigation and other works. Also they provide the water to the nomads people, those who move from one place to another. So you know very well, nomads means the people those who move from one place to another in search of pasture and water. So they travel with their animals, they move with their animals, and while going through, they get the water. While traveling, they get the water from Oasis. In the Sahara Desert, the largest freshwater lake is the Lake Chad, that is in Sahara Desert. Now you can see in the map, the African map, near the river Niger. And two more rivers is famous over there. There are many more, but two more most famous river are Nile and Niger. So there you can see the Nile river and as well as Niger. And just beside the Niger, it is Lake Chad. Now you can see the Congo river, Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Zameb, Zambezi, Limpopo, Orange. So these are some of the rivers, famous rivers of the Africa. But two main river that belongs to the desert areas. They flow frinks of the desert, the sides of the desert. That is the Nile and the Niger, along with the Lake Chad. So these river provide the water facilities to the people, those who are living near the desert areas. Also, these provide the transportation, irrigation, and many more things. Now, let us see the climate of the desert. So beginning with the, though it is near the tropic of Cancer and equator, between the equator. So here the uh, skies are cloudless and clear. The extreme temperature is there with 55 degrees in summer and 15 degrees in minus 15 degree in winter. So reason is that the sands are get dried in the summer, and in during the winter the sands become cold. So because of that only, the temperature here in the summer it is 55 degree, and in winter it's minus 15 degree Celsius. Days are hot while nights are freezing cold. So days are hot and nights are freezing cold, and hot and dry wind blow. Though the moisture is very less over here, so because of that only, whatever the wind is blow here, it is dry and hot. And the reason is that the rain bearing winds that blow from the Atlantic Ocean, they lost their most of the moisture by the time they reach to the desert, so the rainfall is less. So when the rain bearing winds from the Atlantic Ocean, when they move, so they precipitate in the coastal areas, but they when they reach in the middle part of the continent, till that time they lost their moisture, and because of that only the rainfall is very low. It's about 25 centimeter per year. Now when we move eastern section of the Sahara, means eastern side of the Sahara, so temperature started increasing and humidity started decreasing. So when temperature will start increasing, temperature will be increased, so humidity definitely will decrease. So because of that only, the eastern section of Sahara is most hottest one. And the Libya is the region where it is found as the most arid region, and also the highest temperature ever recorded here, because of the sun rays and the heat and the desert. It was 57.8 degrees Celsius in El Azizia in year 1922. So this was the highest record on the earth's surface, which is recorded in year 1922. It's about 57.8 degrees Celsius. So due to extreme heat and cold in desert that are accompanied by a flurry of hot, dry, dusty winds, such as, okay, now because of the temperature, because of the cold in desert, that creates a dusty wind, dry wind, and hot wind. So because of that only, the winds are categorized into many. There are four of them. It is mentioned over there: Kamsin, Sirocco, Harmattan, and Simoon. So these are the sandstorm which blow in the Sahara Desert. Now beginning with the Kamsin. So Kamsin is also spelled as Kamsin and the Kamsin. That is the hot, dry, dusty wind in North Africa and the Arabian Peninsula that blow from the south or the southeast in late winter and early spring. So basically, the this comes in is blow from where? From the south or southeast to the region where North Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. So they blow from southeast to Arabian Peninsula and the North African region. During which time? During the late winter and early spring. It often reaches temperature about 40 degrees Celsius. So during when this wind blow, the temperature will highest. It's about 40 degrees Celsius, and it may blow continuously 3 or 4 days at the time, and then followed by inflow of much cooler air. So this comes in wind. It blow for the 3 to 4 days, and after when it get cooled, when it gets stopped, so cooler air, the cold air started blowing during those regions, or at the regions which belongs to the North Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. So this is one of the gusty wind, dry wind that blows into the Saharan Desert. Now moving to the next, that is a sirocco. That is also a warm humid wind that occurs over the northern Mediterranean Sea and southern Europe. So you have seen the in on the map, the Mediterranean Sea is there and the southern Europe areas, where it blow from the south or southeast and bring the uncomfortably humid air. So this also, the sirocco is also a humid air that creates the humidity in the Saharan desert, and that is uncomfortable, means it makes the people, those who are living in those areas, make the uncomfortable. Next one is Harmattan. So Harmattan is a cool dry wind. It's a cool dry wind that blow from the northeast or east in the Western Sahara. So from the northeast to Western Sahara region, and it is the strongest one, and it blows in the late winter like November to the mid March. So the harmattan usually carries the large amount of dust. So when it blows, so it carries the dust, and which is transported hundreds of kilometers over the Atlantic Ocean. So when this dust blows from there, and that dust is reaches far from the 100 kilometers of the over the Atlantic Ocean. So what it creates? It creates the dust, and which interferes the aircraft, means it interferes the aeroplanes, and also the dust which blow from the Western Sahara, that also reaches up to the decks of the ships and ships, and that creates the hindrance, or the we can say the it might get destruct the ship, or the aeroplanes can may encounter some of object, and that creates the destruction. The next wind blow, the dusty wind blow, that is the simoon, or it also is spelled as samon, simum and samum. It is also extremely hot, dry local wind in Arabia and the Sahara. Its temperature about refin often reaches 55 degrees Celsius, and the humidity of the air sometimes falls below the 10%. So humidity will become very less. It's about 10%. It is caused by intensive ground heating under the cloudless sky. So when there is no cloud, and when heating is there, so how the heating is there? Because it all belongs to the equatorial regions, near the equatorial regions. So because of that only, the heating is intense. Simum is an Arabic word which means poison wind. So poison wind means it refers the wind tendency to cause the heat stroke. So it causes the heat stroke, means the all of sudden the temperature will, when temperature rises and it stroke, it impact on the human being, so that is causes as heat stroke. So it causes the heat stroke, and it's it refers to the wind's tendency to cause the heat stroke, as it brings more heat to the human body than it is removed by the evaporation of perspiration. So whatever the sweat we release, instead of that only, it's provide the more heat, and that causes the heat stroke. The most temperature that is released, or that we suffer from the temperature, that causes the heat stroke. Now you can see the several temperature, or there is a more temperature over there in the equatorial region. So because of the temperature, the natural vegetation will be definitely affect. So natural vegetation is, what kind of natural vegetation will be there? So it will be, you know very well, xerophytic vegetation. So xerophytic vegetation is what? It is a type of vegetation that is the drought, that is also known as drought resistance vegetation. And these plants have adapted themselves according to the hot and dry climate. And the plants have the long tap root which reaches to the underground for the search of water. So because of the temperature, the vegetation that grow over here, it is a xerophytic kind of plant which can resist the scanty of the rainfall, or we can say the scarcity of the rainfall. So because of the less moisture, the stems are fleshy that holds the water, and they do not have the leaves or spines. And whatever the leaves are there, they are waxy. So if they are waxy, through check the evaporation. So evaporation will not be there if the leaves are waxy, if the leaves are thick. So because of the thickness, the evaporation procedure from the plants, or the transpiration basically, it will not happen more. So examples like cactus, acacia, thorny bushes, date palms. So these are some of the examples that grows over there. And date palm. So date palm is most of the important plant that is grow in the oasis, near the oasis, that is used as various means for the food. And sap is used for to make wine. Leaves are used to make the thatch roofs. Thatch roofs means hut type of object basically. So these are very helpful. The date palm is very helpful for the people, those who are living in the desert area. So as you see, the desert is the desert. In the desert, the natural vegetation is very less, so you are easily able to understand the wildlife will be differ. So here some of the animal species, those who adopted the adopted the climate extreme climatic condition, there, like the small desert animals, that they can hide in the burrows. Burrows means the uh, hole that is made by the small animals to keep themselves out of the reach out of the temperatures. So these animals live over there, and they usually come out in the night. Or camel, you know very well, camel is very important in the desert, that is also known as the ship of the desert. And many more animals are there, like jackal, hyena, addox, snakes, lizard. So there are many animals which is live over there on the natural vegetation which is found in the uh, desert, Sahara Desert basically. Now, life of the people, those who are living in the Sahara Desert. So you know very well, the temperature is very extreme, and because of the extreme temperature, there is no possibilities for the settled life. So people, those who are living over there, those who are the part of the Sahara Desert, they do not live a settled life. They had to move from one place to another. So certain person, those who move from one place to another, they were known as nomadic peoples or the nomadic tribes. So most of the tribes, they traverse the Sahara, means they travel from one part of the Sahara to the another part of the Sahara. So there are three main tribal people, or the tribal or nomadic tribes are there. They were known as Arab Bedouins, those who lives in the northern part of the Africa. Barbers, they live near the Atlas mountain. The Tuaregs, they live in the southern part of the Africa. So let us see one by one uh, from the or the nomadic tribal people, starting with the Bedouins. So Bedouins are who? Bedouins or Bedu. Both name is used for the Bedouins. So Bedouins or Bedu is a population of nomadic Arabs who have historically inhabited in the desert regions in North America, Africa, Arabian Peninsula, Upper Mesopotamia, and the Levant. So these are the places where the Bedouins or Bedu lives. Now see, you can see the picture of them. You can see the animals are there. They have made tent, that is the temporary shelter, and people are sitting together, they are discussing something. So there you can see they have worn a light colored cloth on their body, and they had covered their face and head. So why they had done this? Just because to avoid the heat, and they get they will save, they will save from the heat stroke because of wearing those light colored dress. Now the next community which is live over there, that is the Berbers. So Berbers lives in live in scattered communities across the Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mali, Niger, or Mauritania. So these are there. You can see some of the picture of Berbers. They had different clothing style, different clothing style, but they are common because they all have to cover their body, their face, to live in the desert areas. Now the next one is Turks, or the French Turks or Berber speaking pastoralists who inhabited in area in North and West Africa. So Turks lives in the area of North and West Africa, from Tout, Algeria, Gadhamis and Libya to northern Nigeria, and from Fezzan, Libya to Timbuktu, Mali. So these are the places where the Turks community lives. Bedouins and Turks, they practice the animal rearing and move with their herd of camel, sheep, and goats in search of water and grass. So basically, the nomadic people, those who move from one place to another, they always carry their animals like camel, sheep, goat. So what why they do? They travel from one place to another, and they used to carry those animals. They get the food product from them, and those food products itself sold itself to the other part of the areas where they move, and in exchange of that products they get the money and they can purchase for their household works. uh, these animals provide the milk, meat, hide, skin basically, which is used to make tent, belt, water bags, and their hair is used to make carpet, mat, blanket. So they used to sell these items, and they get the money on behalf of that. And here the camel is very important, you know very well. It is used for the transportation purpose. People used to wear the long white robes, so they can beat the heat and dusty wind. And because the river and oasis is present over there, so they grow some of the crops like maize, millet, wheat, barley, figs, date, apricot, olives. So these are some of the vegetation, or the we can say plants or crops are grown in these area which is near to the valley and the lakes. Here one of the important cotton or the fiber is grown, that is the long fiber, that is also known as Egyptian cotton. So it is very famous in the world. And the Sahara Desert has also rich minerals, which is like oil and natural gases. So people used to do the mining. So which part of the Sahara the natural gases or the mineral oil is present, like Libya, Egypt, and Algeria. So because of the natural reserves, people started living the settled life near these reserves. So reserves means the maximum amount of that particular thing is found, the mineral oil or natural gas is found, that is the reserve. So people started living the settled life near the reserves. And mining is also important, very important occupation. So with the help of mining, they extract the copper, iron, and manganese. So this all mineral resource make them rich country. So because of getting these mineral resources, the desert area is also a little bit becoming the prosperous. The development of the transport and communication has brought a change in the life of people who inhabitant in this region. So people, those who are living in this region, their life is getting changed because of the development of transport and communication. Airways is also developed, super highways is also there. So those connects the area of desert in the world, to the world. And while like river Nile and other inland waterways, Cairo, Giza, Timbuktu, they are some of the important city which is connected by the world, and also these cities have the modern facilities like school, hospital, cultural and religious centers. So the desert area, the people those who are living in the desert area, their life is also get developed, and their life is also become uh, easier because of the development of the technologies. And with the help of technologies, they get the money, and they sell their mineral resources, and on behalf of that they get the money and lead the good life. So this is the topic that we have to discuss in this chapter for the dry desert. And next topic that you have to learn is that the Ladakh, the cold desert. Now you have to write the wild life that is present in the Sahara Desert, and the temperature, that is the climate of the desert, in your copy. Thank you, students.